Welcome to link 11, story. Traditionally, this link is called birth, which refers to the birth of a separate self. I'm going to refer to it as story. This link is where an identity has now taken shape. That which we've made important becomes a narrative. Instead of aspects of life just having some weight, now they belong to someone. My feelings, my patterns, my wants, my importance, my experience, my life, my story. Everything that happens now is claimed by someone in the form of a story. So this is where the illusion of a separate self really starts to crystallize. But let me say something important about the separate self. When we talk about selfing or the separate self or the self as an illusion, I'm not saying there's no such thing as you. The point is not that you don't exist, it's that the self does not exist in isolation. It's dependent upon infinite factors, and it's generated by causes and conditions. The 12 links show us how this sense of self gets constructed. All of these experiences, all of these links in the chain, build up into the idea of me. The mind wants to make it feel like the self is separate, solid, and existing all on its own because that's what it does. One of the mind's fundamental jobs is understanding, which involves dividing experience into pieces. That includes separating self from other. But when we investigate this, we start to see that this isn't possible. Everything we are relies on interaction, relationship, conditions. So this link is where the chain shifts from this thing that's happening matters to this thing that's happening that matters is happening to me, for me, from me, against me. In the video game metaphor, we have a world, an engine, objects, a playable character, feedback, movement, gameplay loops, and quest. Now, the character becomes a hero at the center of the story. It's now the main character around which everything revolves. And at this point, the player can fully buy into the story of the game, get immersed in it, forget that it's a game, that the whole world and everything in it is constructed. And in life and in the game, once there is a hero, a main character, everything that happens becomes personal. So how does this link show up in experience? Well, it shows up when everything becomes personal. A feeling arises, and it's not just feeling, it's my feeling. A pattern arises, and it's not just a pattern, it's my pattern. The same goes for everything else. Thoughts, situations, opinions. This is where experience starts getting organized into the story. The mind says, this is who I am. This is what always happens to me. I suck. I'm awesome. I deserve whatever's coming to me, both good and bad. Not only do I have views and opinions, but they're important and they're mine, and I need to express them and fight for them. Knowing my identity and what makes me unique is of vital importance. And again, this isn't random. The sense of self is built from all the links before it. The worldview gets built, awareness filters through it, experience gets labeled and shaped, the senses come online, contact happens, feeling tones arise, craving moves us towards or away, we develop patterns, importance gives it weight, and now the story says, All of this is me. That's the construction. The self appears as the owner of experience. But when we look closely, we see that it's actually just another process, just like the rest of it. This link is likely one of the easier ones for us to see in our lives. Let's look at some of our favorite examples. Someone says something to us that we have a reaction to. Now in this link, it doesn't just show up as they said that and that it matters. It becomes they said that to me or about me. Now we are a character at the center of that story. I was disrespected, misunderstood. I need to defend myself. I need to be seen. And as always, this happens with unpleasant or pleasant experiences. Something that we like happens. Someone praises us. Project goes well, or meditation felt good. And in this link, that becomes, I'm doing well. I'm becoming someone. I'm good at this. I'm awesome. I'm responsible for that good meditation session. Whether it's positive or negative, experience becomes part of our identity, and we use it as evidence to support who we think we are. And then we live inside these stories. Sometimes painful, other times flattering. Either way, we use them to define ourselves and our story. Fundamentally, story is a way to help reinforce the links of craving, pattern, and importance. They give a clear structure, narrative, understanding, and logic so that we can make sense of why we do the things we do. And so in that way, that has kept us alive and safe. It provides us context for why we do what we do, even if the stories are only partially true. And certainly we don't need to look at stories as if they're some sort of blight on our lives. Not at all. We just want to see that they're just that. Stories. Just see through them. See that they're a way for us to try to explain experience, but treat our own stories in the same way that we treat any other story. Lightly, loosely. So how do we get trapped by this link? We get trapped when we believe the story. We don't see that it was built. We just see the end point. And the end point feels real, like there's someone at the center of all of it. So all experience becomes personal. Good things and bad things are happening to me. My successes and failures are part of who I am, even if I blame something else for it, which is just more story. The story then becomes the world we live inside, and because we don't see the construction, we don't realize that the story is just that. It feels like reality because it serves us. That's how the link becomes binding. But this link can also be freed. In the freed version, we see story as story. We see that this sense of me is constructed, dependent on the other links, built from conditions. Experience, thoughts, feelings, stories, they still show up, but we don't hold on to it. None of these things define us. We have a light touch, and we don't take things so personally. That changes everything, because if we're simply enjoying the ride of experience, how can a story possibly stick in the same way? It can arise, sure, but playfully, and we don't have to become so trapped inside of it. So the practice here is to notice when something becomes mine. When a reaction, thought, feeling, or situation starts to feel personal, pause and ask, what makes this feel so personal? What's the story here? Who or what am I defending? And see if you can trace it back through the chain. What sensation, feeling tone, craving, or pattern is showing up? Am I placing some sort of weight on something? How did it turn into a story? We're not looking to overanalyze it. Don't turn practice into a mental exercise. Just see how the story was built. In your sitting practice, just let experience arise. And even notice, is there a sense that I am meditating? Is there someone doing meditation? Or is experience simply happening? If there is a sense of someone doing it, just notice that. Let it soften. Let the story loosen a little. Notice, too, it's just a sense. You might look into how solid it actually is. But if you notice that there's too much anxiety around that, just back off. We're here to let go of the stories that cause us suffering. In the practice, you can also notice how much of experience you're not choosing and just enjoy it. Sounds are heard, thoughts are noticed, sensations are experienced, feelings felt, the body breathes, and the moment moves. All of experience is simply arising and passing, not happening to someone. It's just happening. Just see if you can experience this whole story happening without being the main character. So let's sit with this together. For this link, I'm going to offer a few different phrases, and I invite you to simply allow them to work on you. The first phrase that I invite you to work with is I am not my thoughts. I am not my thoughts. And just sit with that. Next phrase. I am not my feelings. I am not my feelings. The next phrase. I am not my story. I am not anything that arises. I am not anything that arises. I am awareness. I am awareness. And finally, I am separate from nothing. I am separate from nothing. Really, just notice throughout the day how often the mind is trying to make something be about us. Just remember our practice today. I know that it's not about you. It can't be about you. And don't make anything of it. Well, thank you for your practice. Thank you for joining me. And I'll see you next time for the last link, link 12. You want to say see you next time, Friggies? See you next time.